Now we are going to start the second part of this lesson, children. Do you remember what we learned in the first part? We learned how sound is produced, we learned how we can hear sound, and finally we learned the diversity of sounds as natural and artificial sounds. So in this part, we are going to learn about music and noise, and we are going to learn how to make different musical equipment too. We'll start our next topic, music and noise. What is the difference between music and noise, children? Now in our day-to-day life, we hear different types of sounds. Some of them are very nice to hear, very pleasant to our ear, children. For example, when we listen to music, when we listen to songs, and when we listen to playing a musical instrument, it's very nice to our ears. But what about the other sounds, like when children shouting in a classroom or sound present in the traffic? They are not that pleasant to our ears. That is because these two types are different types of sounds, children. So the pleasant type of sounds are known as music, and the unpleasant of sounds are known as noise. Okay, children, we will go through this. The sounds that are sung or played rhythmically. Rhythmically means there is a rhythm to that sound. That sound played with a certain pattern. Okay? Rhythmically are known as music. What are the examples, children? The best example is the sounds coming out of the musical instruments. Okay? We will write the examples. Sound of musical instruments. Musical instruments. Okay, and sound of birds singing, that is also a type of pleasant sound to your ears. Okay? Now we are going to watch a video clip on this rhythmic sounds or music. Right. So you watched that video. So I'm sure you enjoyed it very much because it was very pleasant to your ears. Okay. So under this one, we can further write the sounds that are sung or played rhythmically are known as music. Music is pleasant to our ears. Okay. We will write that too. Music is pleasant. Pleasant to the ear. Music is pleasant to the ear. Then what is noise? We'll go through this. The sounds that are not rhythmic, there's no rhythm, there's no specific pattern, okay? The sounds that are not rhythmic are known as noise. Day-to-day life, we experience these type of situations too. What are the instances, children? The sound coming out of machines, are they very pleasant to your ears? No. And sound of vehicles or sound of, let's say, the engines of the vehicles, the sound of vehicle honking, right? So those are not very pleasant to your ears. Not only that, what about sometimes when the teachers are not in the classroom, some children shout in the classroom. That is also not very pleasant, right? So those type of sounds are known as noise. We will write some examples. Sound of vehicles. Let's say traffic, sound of machines. And sounds in the marketplace also not very pleasant, okay? Because when the vendors sell their things, sometimes they are very loud, okay? And people are also very loud at times. Therefore, sound in the market also not very pleasant, okay? Now we are going to watch another video clip on this one. So I'm sure it was not that pleasant to your ear, okay? You didn't want to listen to that type of sound, right, children? So we can write down under this one, noise is unpleasant to the ear or not pleasant to the ear. We will write that. Noise is unpleasant to the ear. Unpleasant. Right, children? So now we know the difference between music and noise. So music and noise both are types of sounds. The sounds that are sung or played rhythmically are known as music, and at the same time, music is pleasant to the ear. So the best example is the sound of, right, when we play musical instruments, it's very pleasant. So the sounds that are not rhythmic are known as noise, and they are unpleasant to your ear. So the examples we wrote, sound of vehicles or traffic, sounds coming out of machines, when children shouting in the classroom, that's also a type of noise. Okay, children? Look at this one. When the sound of music is increased, it too can be a disturbance. What is this, children? Now here we learn that the sound that are sung or played rhythmically are known as music, and music is pleasant to the ear. But what about these, children? Even though music is pleasant to your ear, sometimes when we listen to it, like when we listen to music which are too loud, that is not very pleasant, children. That's why it says when sound of music is increased, it too can be a disturbance. Some people now, when they enjoy music, they love to increase the volume of the cassette. So this is not very good to your ears. Okay, children? What are the instances people play loud music, children? We will write some of them. Right, examples. Loud music played at some musical shows. Loud music Played at functions. At festivals, carnivals. Sometimes some people play loud music at different instances. Okay, children, these are some examples. So what happens now? When these type of loud music present, we can't even hear each other's talking. Okay, because it is that loud. Even the next person is talking to us, we can't hear them clearly. That is because the music is too loud. So in that case, even though music is coming under pleasant sounds, this type of loud music is not very pleasant. And at the same time, children, these type of loud music, any type of loud sounds are not very good for your ears, children. Do you remember I explained you all that now ear is the sensitive organ to sounds. So what will happen when your ear exposed to loud music or loud sounds for too long? What will happen, children? Your sensitivity, the sensitivity of the ear to mild sounds will reduce. Okay, children, let's say that someone exposed to loud music for a long period of time. Then after some time, that person will not sensitive or that person's ear will not sensitive to normal sounds anymore. Okay, children? Not only that, because of loud music, we get different diseases too. What are these different types of diseases? Most of the time, this loud music can increase the blood pressure of people. Okay, children. So when the blood pressure is increased, people might get heart attacks. And what else? Mental stress increases because of loud sounds or loud music. Okay, mental stress increases. And what else? People cannot concentrate. Let's say that if there is someone at your home who listens to loud music, and at the same time, if you have to study for the exam or the term test, can you concentrate on your work, children? It's very difficult. In the presence of the loud sounds or loud music, you cannot concentrate on your work because you can't memorize things properly. Okay, children? And it disturbs the tranquility of the environment. That is also another harmful effect of loud music. So it is very good to listen to music when you are mentally stressed, when you want to relax. You have to listen to music. It's a very good thing. But at the same time, you should not listen to loud music. Right, children? Because one way it increases your mental stress and the other thing is it harms your eardrum. It harms your ears. Okay, children? We'll move on to the next. Look at these pictures. These are some other examples for noises. What is this person doing? Now this one is using this special equipment. He is cutting metals. Okay, loud noise is produced during these type of activities. Okay, what is this? This is a marketplace. You must have been to marketplaces like these. Vendors sometimes with loud voice they sell their stuff. Right? They sell their things, they use loud voice. So when from different places, number of vendors shout, it's very difficult to concentrate. Sometimes we can't hear them at all. And what is this? This person is using a welding machine. Okay, or when you weld something also, a loud noise is produced. What is this? This is an urban area. You all can see how many vehicles are here. A lot of vehicles are there, a lot of people are going on here. So when we consider the vehicles, the sound of the engine, the sound of the horns of the vehicles, when they all mix together, it becomes noise. Okay, children? So especially the people who engage in these type of activities, let's say if someone works in a certain factory related to these type of activities, they have to wear certain protectors to cover their ears. Okay, children, otherwise, as I told you before, if their ears exposed to these type of loud noise for a long period of time, they will go through many harmful effects, right? They will get many diseases and finally they wouldn't be able to hear properly. Okay, children? So look at this one. We have an assignment to do. List out the noises that you can hear in a town. Look at this. This is an urban area. This is a town. You all can see there are a number of vehicles present. So, write the sources of sounds in front of the listed sounds. List out the noises that you can hear in a town, and at the same time you have to write the source of sounds in front of the listed sounds. Shall we do this one now, children? Right. We'll include them in a table. Type of noise and source of sound. Source of sound. What can we write as first one? Because we can see a number of vehicles, we will write about vehicles first. Sound of vehicles. Sound of vehicles. What is the source of sound? Basically, the sound of vehicle is produced by the vehicle engines, okay? We will write engine. Engine. What else? Sound of the horn, so vehicle honking, right? We will write type of noise. Vehicle honking. Especially in the traffic, some vehicles continuously start honking. Vehicles honking. So the source of sound is the horn. When the vehicles apply brakes also, sound is produced, noise is produced. Applying brakes, vehicles applying brakes. Applying brakes. So the source of sound is the brake system. What else, children? Sometimes in some shops there are loudspeakers, okay? And sometimes these lottery sellers use loudspeakers, okay? So we will write that. So type of sound or noise is, let's say, loud music. Loud music. There, the source of sound is loudspeaker. Next one. If there are factories nearby, we can write machines. Write sound of the factories. So the source of sound is machines. Okay? Noise comes from the factories. Right? They are the source of sound, machines. Okay, children. So type of noise and source of sound. Sound of vehicles, the source of sound is engine. So the type of noise is vehicles honking, the source of sound is horn. And applying brakes, brake system is the source of sound. So type of noise is loud music. Source of sound is loudspeaker. And type of noise comes from the factories, and source of sound is machines. And you can add more things to your list, okay children? So what can you write? Vendors selling things. So what is the source of sound? Vendors, people. Okay children, likewise you can keep on adding. Look at this picture, or even there are not in this picture, you can think and write. Think of a town, think of a city, and write down what are the different types of noises present, and you can write what are the sources of sounds too. Okay children, so when you do these type of activities, these type of assignments, you have to write more and more things as much as you can. So then only you can understand what you learned better. Okay children, we will move on to the next. Now we are going to discuss about the last topic of this lesson, that is creating equipment to produce sound. So under this topic, we are going to learn how to make different types of equipment, instruments to produce sound using the materials that you can find very easily. Okay children, therefore when I teach these things, you will realize that most of these things you can make at home. Okay, so I am going to show you how to make some of them too. Let's discuss these things. The first one we are going to make, activity, making a musical instrument with bottle caps. Okay, so how to make this instrument children? What do we need to make this instrument? We need some bottle caps and we need a strong wire. We will write bottle caps, a strong wire, a strong wire. So how to make this one? Look at this children. We will label this diagram. This is the strong wire. These are the bottle caps. Okay. Strong wire, and these are the bottle caps. This is very easy to make. Bottle caps. Right children? So how to do this one? Crush the bottle caps and make them as tablets. Now you all know when you take the bottle cap, that is not flat. That is a lid-like thing like this. What you have to do is you have to crush it using a hammer and you have to make it flat like a coin. Crush the bottle caps and make them as tablets or small coins, okay? Make a hole in the middle of the caps. In the middle of each cap you have to make a hole and then send the wire through the holes. Okay? You have to make holes in the middle of each bottle cap and then you have to send a strong wire through each hole and you have to make this instrument. So you have to pass the wire from one side, take it from the other side and the two ends of the wire you have to tie it up. Right? And then now shake it. So when you shake it, you have to hold it from this handle part and you have to shake this instrument and it will make sounds. Okay, so you can use it as a musical instrument too. Okay, children. So now do you remember in the first part of the lesson, we learned that sound is produced by vibrating something. I hope you remember that one. So when you consider this one, when you shake this instrument, this can produce sound. Which part vibrates, children? Can you realize which part vibrates here? You all know that when we shake this instrument, these bottle caps will contact with each other and they make sounds. So there what happens children, these bottle caps are made out of metals. So these metal pieces vibrate to produce sound. Because when we shake this, these bottle caps contact with each other and they vibrate, the metal vibrates and sound is produced. Okay children? So remember, when you look at certain instruments, now you should be able to tell which type of substance is vibrated, which type of material is vibrated in order to make sound. Okay, children? Right. We will move on to the next. The second equipment we are going to make is a clapperboard, or we call it takaya in Sinhala. So how to make this one? What are the things we need to make this one, children? We need a large tin. Then we need a strong wire, and then we need nylon thread, a piece of nylon thread, and we need a iron rod. Okay, let's write. A large tin. We need a large tin, a strong wire, a nylon thread, and an iron rod. Okay, children, we need a large tin, a strong wire, a nylon thread, and an iron rod. Okay, children, so how to make this equipment? We will see. Look at this one. Again, we have the diagram. We will label it. So, this is the large tin. This is the strong wire. This is the iron rod. This is the nylon thread. Right? This is the hole that you are going to make. We will mark them. Here's the hole. This is the strong wire. This is the tin, iron rod, and nylon thread. Tin, iron rod, and nylon thread. So what is the importance of drawing a label diagram, children? Even by looking at the diagram, now we can figure out how to make this equipment, right? Look at this one. Now we will read this. Make a hole at the bottom of the tin. Okay, now this is the bottom. Send the wire through the hole and hang the iron rod as given in the figure. So you have to send the thick or strong wire through the hole, and you have to tie this iron rod using that wire. Okay, and tie the nylon thread at the end of the iron rod and shake it. Now you have to tie the nylon thread at the other end of the iron rod, and what do you have to do? You have to pull this nylon thread and you have to shake it. Then what will happen? It will make sound. Okay. Now we are going to make this equipment in the lab and show you all. Okay. Right, children. Now I have to show you this clapperboard. How do you make it, children? You have to make a hole at the bottom of this tin, and you have to send a wire through this hole, and you have to tie an iron rod like this. Can you all see it clearly? And to the other side of the other end of this iron rod, you have to tie another nylon thread. So how does this work, children? If you hang this one somewhere, and if you pull this string, you all can see very clearly these two metals contact with each other. Okay, these two metals contact with each other and the sound is made. Now you all know that to produce sound, something should be vibrated. Here what is vibrated is the two metals, they contact with each other and the sound is produced by vibrating these metals. So what happens when I pull the nylon thread? You could hear that it makes sound. That is because this iron rod contacts with the tin. Okay, children, that is how it produces sound. So in some areas, this clapperboard or the takaya is used to drive away animals who are coming to harm the trees with fruits. Okay, children, to protect or to save the fruits, they have to drive away the animals, birds and monkeys. Okay, so they use these type of clapperboards. Okay, children, so when this nylon thread is pulled, what happens? It makes a loud noise. Therefore, animals will move away. So how does this produce sound again? You all know that sound is produced by vibrating something. Okay? So here what happens, when we pull this thread, this iron rod contact with the tin continuously, and thereby because of the contact it produces sound. So when they contact with each other, these metal pieces vibrate and the sound is produced. Okay, children, even in the previous activity, when we using the bottle lids, we made the instrument. They are also by contacting the metal pieces with each other, sound is produced. Even here, sound is produced by contacting metal pieces with each other. So what are the actual musical instruments that we can see where the sound is produced in the same method, which means by contacting metal pieces, children? Have you seen the cymbals? They are large two metal circles. Like these are the handles. So you have to hold them from the handle and you have to play it. The cymbals, they are what happens, sound is produced when these metal pieces vibrate with each other. Metal pieces contact with each other. Okay, children? And you must have seen there's this instrument called triangle. It's actually a metal triangle. So there's another metal rod we can use to strike this triangle and we can produce sound. There what happens, this triangle is also made out of metal and this stick like the rod is also made out of metal. So by contact with each other, the metal's vibration takes place and sound is produced. Okay, children? So we will move on to the next. So now we are going to learn how to make a guitar using a cardboard box. Now I told you under these instruments, all these instruments you all can make at home because we are going to make these instruments with the materials that we can find very easily, children. Okay? So we will go through this. What are the things we need to make this one? We need a cardboard box and we need rubber bands, about 6 rubber bands we need. And we need 2 pencils and a piece of cardboard. We will write a cardboard box, a cardboard box, rubber bands. We need about 6 rubber bands, 2 pencils, and we need a piece of cardboard. We need a piece of cardboard, okay? We need a cardboard box, rubber bands, 2 pencils and a piece of cardboard, okay? So how to make this equipment, I will show you. Look at this. Now it's very simple, you just have to assemble the things you have. So cut a circular part out of the cardboard box. You must have seen even in real guitars, these type of circle is removed. Okay? So cut a circular part out of the cardboard box. Then make a simple guitar as given in the figure and play it. Okay, children? Right, we will label this first. Cardboard box and 2 pencils we have, rubber bands and the piece of cardboard. Cardboard box, rubber bands, piece of cardboard, piece of cardboard and pencils. Okay, children. So what you have to do first is you have to cut a circular part out of the cardboard box, and then you have to fix this piece of cardboard like this to the cardboard box. Then you have to send these rubber bands around the cardboard and the piece of cardboard both. Now these rubber bands are equal to the guitar strings. Okay. And then you have to send these two pencils through the rubber bands. Okay, children, two pencils from either side you have to send through the rubber bands. Okay, right. Now we are going to the lab and do this activity. Now here I have the toy guitar that I mentioned you all before. Okay, now this toy guitar is made up of wooden boards, and for the strings we have used twine thread. So you all can see in this side I have sent a thread between this guitar and the strings, and this side a piece of wood. Okay, you all can see because of this piece of wood and this pen, the tension of this, now it is these strings of this guitar is more stretched. Okay, I will play this one now. Listen carefully. So when you strum the guitar, you can clearly hear the sound is produced. Now I will remove this pen and even this piece of wood. Now what happens? Listen to the sound produced now. Now this time the sound produced is different, children. Why does this happen? The tension of the string, right? The guitar string, the tension of the guitar string affects the sound. When it is more stretched, the sound produced is also different. Okay, children? So I will insert this again. Right. Now you can hear it clearly. The intensity is higher this time. Okay. So when the string is more stretched, what happens? The intensity changes. Okay, children? So how does this guitar produce sound, children? You all know anything produces sound by vibrating something. Here you all can see this produces sound only when I strum this. Okay? Okay, children. So here what happens? By vibrating the strings, the sound is produced. Understand? Now even though you can't see this type of wooden guitar at home, you can make a similar guitar using a cardboard box. I will show you. Now look at this one, children. Now this guitar is made by using a cardboard box, right? Instead of the strings, we have used here rubber bands. Now look at this one. You all can see the rubber bands are nicely stretched because of the this pen tube and the pencil we have inserted through them, and you can see they vibrate nicely. If I remove this pencil and pen, what will happen? You can hear clearly the sound produced is different. So you saw how I made this equipment work. So I showed you two types of guitars. This type of guitar made with the cardboard box and another guitar made with wooden boards. Okay. So do you remember when I stretched these strings of the guitars we made, what happened, children? When we stretched it more and more. Now you all know that by inserting these pencils, we can increase the stretchiness of the rubber bands or the strings of the guitar. What happened? You all know that in order to produce sound, I had to strum the strings. Okay. So then what happened? When the pencils were inside, pencils were through these strings, the sound produced was a high sound. The intensity was high. What happened when I removed these two pencils, and in the other guitar I removed the pieces of the wooden pieces I removed? Then what happened, children? What happened to the sound? Then the sound was not that loud. Okay, the intensity reduces then. Okay, children. So after doing this activity, it's clear. Now we made this type of guitars. If you want to increase the intensity of the sound produced by this guitar, the strings, or in this case, these are the rubber bands. The rubber bands should be stretched. Only they are stretched well, we can produce the sound. The high sound can be produced. Right, children? So the strings of the guitar should be stretched really well. Then only we can produce a high sound. And at the same time, these type of equipment with strings, they produce sound by vibrating strings. Okay, children, when we vibrate the string, the sound is produced. So these are known as string instruments. We are going to learn about string instruments further. So these are the string instruments. So in this case, strings actually, the rubber bands act as strings. So you have to vibrate the rubber bands, then they produce the sound. So guitars produce sound by vibrating the strings. Okay, children? We'll move to the next. Now we are going to make another type of guitar. This is called a tin guitar. So what do we need? We need thin wires, a small tin, some nails and a thick piece of wood. Okay? We will write thin wires, why do we need thin wires? Because we are going to use these thin wires as the strings of the guitar. When the strings are thin, it produces a high sound. Okay, that's why. So, a small tin, some nails and a thick wooden plank or wooden board. Thin wires, a small tin, some nails and a thick wooden plank. Okay? How to do this? Now look at this one. This is the diagram. We will label this one. This is the tin, the wooden plank, the wires and nails. Right. Small tin, wooden plank, thin wires and nails. How to do this activity? How to make this equipment, children? Fix 6 nails each at one end of the wooden plank. Look at this one. And inside the tin, which is fixed at the other end of the wooden plank. Here you are going to fix some nails and inside the other side, the other nails, okay? So they should be fixed in a straight line because we are going to connect these wires through these nails, okay? Then tie the wires tightly around the nails as shown in the figure. I will explain you why do we have to connect them or fix them tightly, okay? Practice playing the tin guitar. So you have to make the equipment like this and you can vibrate the strings and play the guitar. Now we are going to make this equipment in the lab. Right, children. Now this is the tin guitar I mentioned you all about. Okay, how to make this, children? You all can see very clearly. It's made with this wooden board, a tin and 3 thin wires. And you all can see very clearly to one side of the wooden board, 3 iron nails are fixed. And one end of each wire is connected to these nails. And then these wires, observe carefully, and then these wires are sent through this tin and taken from the other side. And from this side, it's taken down. And look at this. And from here, it is again fixed to these nails. And you all can see at the same time, this piece of wood is stuck between these wires and the wooden board. So at the same time, you all know now, because of this piece of wood stuck between these wires and the wooden board, the stretchness or the tension of the wires increases. Okay, tension of the wires increases. Now listen to this now. Right, now I will remove this piece of wood, and now you all can see very clearly these strings are not that stretched. These wires, these thin wires are not that stretched, okay? So what can you hear? The intensity of the sound is very low, not like before, okay? That ringing noise is not there. Now I will fix this again. Now you can hear the same ringing sound like before. Okay, so it's very clear by vibrating these strings. If the strings are well stretched enough, we can produce sound very easily. Okay, so even in this guitar, how do we produce sound, children? By vibrating these strings. So you saw how to make this instrument and how to play that one too. So now I think you understand why do we have to fix these wires, stretch and fix these wires. Why? What is the reason, children? That is because when the wires are more stretched, what happens? The sound produced is a high sound. Okay, the intensity is high. What happens now? Do you remember in the guitar I showed you in the lab? We inserted a piece of wood through the wires too. Then what happens? You can make the wires more and more stretched. When the wires are more stretched, the sound produced is higher. Okay, higher and loud. Okay, children? So we can hear the sound very easily. Understand, children? So even here, the sound is produced by vibrating the strings of the guitar. So far we learned that there are two methods of producing sound. In the clapperboard, we learned that the sound is produced by vibrating metal pieces. Right? In the two guitars, we learned that sound is produced by vibrating strings. Okay, children? So here, this is a tin guitar. Even here, sound is produced by vibrating strings. When the strings are more stretched, the sound produced is higher. The intensity is higher. Okay, children? Look at this picture, children. Some other instruments which produce sound in the same way as the tin guitar you made. How does this tin guitar produce sound again? By vibrating strings. So look at these instruments, they all have strings. Okay, what are these instruments, children? This is the violin, a guitar. This is a sitar, and this is known as banjo. We will write violin, guitar, banjo. This is sitar. Right? They all have strings. Right? When we vibrate the strings, sound is produced. What are the other examples, children? There are many other instruments with these type of strings. Okay? These are known as string instruments. Okay? They are called string instruments. So what are the other examples? Cello, mandolin, harp is there, right? And there are many other instruments too. These are known as string instruments. The children who study music would know there are different types of instruments, and these type of instruments are coming under string instruments. Okay? Right. So they produce sound by vibrating strings. Now we are going to watch a video related to these string instruments. So you watched that video clip related to the string instruments, and now it's very clear these type of instruments produce sound by vibrating strings. I hope you understood this part. Right, children. Now the next instrument we are going to make is a mouth organ. How to make this? We are going to make a mouth organ using these pen tubes, okay? We will write, we need pen tubes, 6 of them, and we need tape and a piece of cardboard, okay? We will write 6 pen tubes. So you have to take the barrel of the pen, right? The empty part of the pen you have to take. The barrel of the pen. Tape and a piece of cardboard. Piece of cardboard. Even without the piece of cardboard, we can make it, right? By attaching the pens only with the tape also, we can make it, okay? So look at this one. This is the structure. We label pen tubes and here tape. Piece of cardboard we can't see here. Tape, pen tubes. Okay? So how to make this? Cut the pen tubes as shown in the figure. Now look at this one. They are not of the same size, right? They are of the different sizes. You have to cut them into different sizes and then you have to fix with each other, right? Cut the pen tubes as shown in the figure, and here also measurements given 11.5 centimeters, 10.2 centimeters, 8.9 centimeters, 7.6 centimeters, 5.3 centimeters and 4 centimeters, okay? So this one, the longest one should be 11.5 centimeters and the shortest one should be 4 centimeters. So you have to cut them accordingly and you have to connect them. Then make the structure as given in the figure using tape, and you can place the piece of cardboard behind, and using the tape you can fix them with each other, okay? Practice to play it in the ascending order and in the descending order. From one side to the other side, and from then that side to the other side, the first side you have to play it using your mouth. Okay, children? Now we are going to watch how a mouth organ is played. So you saw how a real mouth organ is played. This is only a structure of mouth organ. This also you can make at home and try to play. Okay, children? So now you all know that sound is produced by vibrating something. When it comes to the clapperboard, it produces sound by vibrating metal pieces. When it comes to the guitar, it has strings, and by vibrating the strings, it produces sound. What about the mouth organ, children? Now these type of mouth organs, how the sound is produced, children? Now listen very carefully. Now these are empty tubes. So even though you can't see, in this empty tube of mouth organ, in these empty tubes, air is trapped. So when you make the structure like this and when you blow into this one, what happens, children? These air particles vibrate. The air column trapped inside vibrates. Okay? So the air particles, so this entire column is known as air column. Right inside the tube, an air column is trapped. Okay? This air column vibrates. Very simply, air particles vibrate. Okay, children? So because of the vibration of air column or air particles, sound is produced. Understand, children? Mouth organ and flute also produces sound in the same way. Okay, children? So, every time sound is produced by vibrating something, some type of material. So, when it comes to the mouth organ, what is vibrating is the air column or the air particles trapped in the empty tubes. Okay, children? We have an assignment to do. We will read this. Make a flute using tender coconut leaves and try to play it. Now, so far we learned how to make different types of musical instruments with the things that we can find very easily. Now, what about this? Make a flute using tender coconut leaves. So, using these natural substances also, we can make different instruments, okay? So, how to make this type of flute, children? This type of flute is known as coconut leaf flute. Coconut leaf flute. So how to make this, children? We have to take a tender coconut leaf. Okay, now you all know that when you take the coconut leaf, this is the entire coconut leaf. Now you all know that the matured coconut leaves are there, the tender ones also there. The tender ones are light in color. You have to take one of the long leaves. Okay, now these are should be very longer than this. Okay, you have to take one of these parts. And then you have to wrap it into a certain shape. Now finally, when you make the flute, you should get the shape like this. Right? By wrapping this coconut leaf, as you get a certain shape like this, you have to keep on wrapping it, the leaf. Okay, children? Then what do you have to do is, you have to take another tiny piece of this tender coconut leaf and you have to cut two small shapes like this. And then you have to insert these two small shapes from this side. Right, children? And then you have to make it as a horn, make it as a flute. From this side, you have to keep your mouth and blow. So then when you blow air into this flute, what happens, children? As we have fixed these two parts inside this flute, they will vibrate. Right? The air goes through these two parts and then they vibrate and the sound is produced. Okay, children? So these type of flutes you can make. Now this is one of the best examples where you can use natural substances to make these type of musical instruments. Okay? Now I will show you a video about this coconut leaf flute. We'll watch that. So you watched how to play this coconut leaf flute. You also can try to make one at home. Okay, children? So now the assignment says make a flute using tender coconut leaves and try to play it. Not only with the coconut leaves, tender coconut leaves, even with papaya leaves also we can make these type of flutes. Okay? How to make one? I will show you. So these type of horns are known as papaya tube horns. Papaya tube horns. How to make a papaya tube horn, children? First you have to take a papaya leaf. So if you observe the papaya leaf, it has a long stalk like this. The leaf has long stalk. And the inside is a hollow tube, right? Inside is empty. So if you observe it like this, the leaf is something like this, right? So what you have to do is, you have to cut this part. I will use a different color. You have to cut from this part. make sure you don't cut from here. Then what will happen is, because one end should be sealed, okay, only from one side it should be opened. So one end should be sealed, only from this side it should be opened. Okay children, what will happen if you cut from somewhere here? Both the ends will be opened. But we have to seal one side. So if you cut along with the part of the leaf, you will get one end sealed and the other end opened. Okay children? So then, when you take the whole tube, what will happen? It will look like this. Right? So after cutting, it will look like this. Then what you have to do is, you have to take a blade and cut a small slit over here in one side. Right, in one side of the tube, you have to cut a small slit, and now from this side you can blow air and play it as a horn. Okay children, so this is known as papaya tube horn. So see how interesting this activity is children. Using natural substances, you can make musical instruments. So there are many other ways that you can make musical instruments using natural substances. You all have to look at the environment and try to find different ways to make these type of instruments. Okay? Look at these pictures, children. What do we have here? Some other instruments which produce sound in the same way as a flute. Now, how does a flute produce sound, children? You have to blow air into the flute, and inside the flute, an air column is trapped. So when you blow air, what happens? The air column trapped inside the flute vibrates and the sound is produced. Same goes with this type of horns, right? In coconut leaf flute and papaya tube horns also, the sound is produced by vibrating air columns. Okay, children? So look at these pictures. What is this? This is called serpina, right? This is called a serpina. So how does it produce sound? From this part, you have to continuously move like a fan. You have to fan in, and you have to, by that one, what happens? Air goes inside, and when you press the keys, because of the air trapped inside, sound is produced. Now what is this? This is a saxophone. Again, air trapped inside this column, and then what happens? When you blow air into this one, the air column vibrates and sound is produced. This is a flute. This is called horanave. What is this? This is a French horn, right? All these instruments produce sound by vibrating air columns, so air particles. These type of instruments are known as wind instruments. As I told you before, children who study music, they know this name. They are familiar with these terms, wind instruments. Okay, let's write serpina. Saxophone, flute, horanave, French horn. What are the other examples, children? Other examples, trumpet, melodica, they also produce, these are the other examples for the instruments that produce sound by vibrating air columns. Okay children, so these are known as wind instruments because they produce sound by vibrating air columns. Now we are going to watch a video on these type of instruments. watch the video clip and I'm sure you understand that these type of instruments produce sound by vibrating air columns. We'll move on to the next. Now we are going to make a drum, a very simple drum using a tin and a balloon membrane. I'm sure you must have made something like this when you're small. Okay, children? So what do you need? You need a tin with a large opening. Okay, because we are going to fix the balloon membrane to this opening of the tin. And we need a balloon membrane and a rubber band. Okay, let's write. A tin with a large opening. A balloon membrane. A balloon membrane. And a rubber band. And a rubber band. Okay, so how to make this? So look at this one. We will label this one. Balloon membrane, rubber band, tin. Balloon membrane, rubber band, and tin. Okay, so how to make this? So as shown in the figure, keep the balloon membrane stretched on the opening of the tin and make a drum. You have to fix the balloon membrane to the tin using the rubber band. Okay, beat it to a rhythm. Right, we will go see how to make this one and play it too. Right, children. Now here I have a drum made with a balloon membrane. How to make these type of drums? This is pretty easy. Okay, how to make? Now here I have a plastic cup and a piece of balloon, right? A balloon membrane. So you have to simply fix this balloon membrane over the cup like this. So how to produce sound? You will have to simply pull this membrane. That's how you produce sound with this. Okay. Now this drum is made with a balloon membrane fixed to a tin. Now let's hear to that sound too. Is there a difference, children? Yes, there's a clear difference between the sounds produced by these two drums. Okay. So here you can hear very clearly this sound is ringing. Okay, it stays for some period of time. But here it's not ringing. Okay, this sound is clearly ringing. Okay, children, what is the difference, children? We use the same type of balloon membranes, but here we used a plastic cup and here we used a tin. Okay, this is a metal. Because of this metal, this sound is ringing. When you fix this membrane to this metal tin, the sound is ringing because there are two materials. Okay, children. Now you all can see this balloon membrane in this tin is nicely stretched. I am going to move it here and there like this. Now you all can see this is not that stretched. Okay. So now here what happens? What happened, children? You can't hear that ringing sound anymore. There, what is the reason, children? Now based on the tension of this membrane, which means if you stretch it more and more, you can produce a ringing sound in each membrane. Okay, using each membrane, if you fix it to the drum, if you stretch it nicely, you can hear the sound produced is ringing. Okay, children? So you watch what happens. I showed you two types of drums like this, right? One was made with a tin and a balloon membrane, and the other one was made with a plastic cup and a rubber membrane. So you clearly observe that when we increase the stretchness of the balloon membrane and when we played it, what happened, children? The intensity of the sound produced was higher, right? Or the loudness was increased. Then what happened when we reduced the stretchness of the balloon membrane? It was not that loud, or the intensity of the sound was low. So what is the conclusion that we can come up with after doing this activity? When we stretch the balloon membrane more and more, we can hear the sound clearly because the intensity of the sound increases. Okay? So at the same time, how can we produce sound in this equipment, children? By vibrating the membrane. So all the drums produce sound by vibrating the skin or the membrane. Okay, so all the drums have a membrane, the drum skin like this. So by vibrating the membrane, they all produce sound. So you all know that to produce sound, something should be vibrated. So when it comes to drums like these, what is vibrated? The membrane or the skin of the drum. Okay, children? Look at this, children. Some instruments that are played as same as a drum. Now you have seen there are a number of drums, different types of drums with different shapes. However, they all are played in the same way. They all produce sound in the same way by vibrating the membrane of the drum. Okay, or the drum skin. So look at this picture. There are different types of drums. This is called, now these two drums we can find in Sri Lanka. This is called the Gattaberaya. This is called the Daula, Bongo, Tabla. This is called Rabana. And you must have seen this one in Western bands, right? You must have seen this. This is called bass drum. Let's write. This is Gattaberaya. Daula, Bongo, Tabla, Rabana, and bass drum. So there are a number of drums different types of drums that we have seen with different shapes, okay? But you have to understand that they all produce sound by vibrating the membrane. Now we will watch a video on the different types of drums. So after watching that, it's very clear different types of drums produce sound by vibrating the membrane of the drum or the skin of the drum. Okay? Now the next thing we are going to do is making sound using water glasses. Can we produce sound using water glasses? Let's see. So what do you need to do this activity? So we need 6 equal glasses, a metal spoon, and we need water. Okay? Let's write 6 equal glasses, metal spoon, and water. We'll see how to do this one. Look at this picture, children. Take 6 equal glasses and put different amounts of water as shown in the figure. Not the same level. When you look at these diagrams, you all can see there are 6 glasses. Water is at different levels, 6 different levels. We will label this glasses and water. Glasses. Okay? 6 equal glasses, but water levels are not equal. They are at different levels. Okay? So take 6 equal glasses and put different amounts of water as shown in the figure. Okay? Strike each glass with a spoon in ascending and descending orders. You have to take a spoon and strike each glass from one side to the other and next to the opposite direction. Okay, children, each glass you have to strike and check whether the same type of sound is produced or a different type of sounds are produced. Okay, let's do this activity now. Right, children. What can you see here now? You all can see there are 6 glasses. I have filled different volumes of colored water to these 6 glasses. Why did I use colored water? So that you all can see very clearly the water levels are at different levels. Okay? And if you observe carefully, I have arranged them from this side to this side into their ascending order of their volumes. Now what I'm going to do is, I'm going to strike each beaker with water using this spoon. Listen what happens. You all can hear clearly different sounds are produced from different beakers, okay? Right. Why does that happen, children? Even though we use the same size beakers, but different levels, different amounts of water here. Now you all can see very clearly up to this level, water is filled in this beaker. Okay, but what about the other space? Even though you can't see the entire amount of the other space is occupied by air. Air is filled in this other space. Same goes with the other beakers too. So in that case, this beaker has most amount of air, and this has only a little amount of air because the space is mostly occupied by the water. Okay, children? So what happens when I strike each beaker, this air present inside this beaker vibrates, right? Air particles present in each beaker vibrates. That is how sound is produced. So the amount of air present in each beaker is different. That is why sound produced by each beaker is also different. Understand? Now I will take this pencil instead of this spoon. See, the same beaker, different sounds. What is the reason there? There we use 2 different materials to strike the beaker. That is the reason. So the sound produced by each beaker depends on the amount of water present, at the same time the material, the substance you use to strike it. So you observed clearly when we strike these glasses with a spoon, what happened, children? Each glass produces different types of sound. They are not the same. What is the reason, children? Because even though the glasses are the same, the amount of water or the level of water in each glass is different. However, how can this glass produce sound, children? Different types of sounds. How can it produce different types of sounds? Now, you all can see up to a certain level, water is filled in each glass. The other part is filled with air. Even though we can't see, we all know now. Now, here in this glass, this part is water. What is this part, children? That is filled with air. Now in this glass, this part is filled with air. Here, this part. Likewise, you can see in each glass, certain part is filled with air. So when you take this first glass, it has only a little amount of air filled because more water is present. Right? Most of the space is occupied by water. Therefore, for air, only a little space is there. So the air column is shorter. But here what happens when you look at the sixth glass, the last glass, you can see the air column is tallest in this glass. So because different amounts of air present, the height of the air column is different in each glass, the sound produced is also different. So how do these glasses produce sound? When we strike each glass, what happens, children? This air column vibrates. So because different amounts of air present, the height of the air columns are different in each glass, different sounds are produced. Okay, children. So strike each glass with a spoon in ascending and descending order from one side to the other, from that side to the first side again. We did that one too. So after doing this activity, it's very clear that these type of equipment produce sound by vibrating air columns because the only thing that changes in each glass is the amount of water and thereby the height of the air column. We took equal glasses. Okay, children? I hope you understood this one. The next instrument we are going to make is a xylophone. How to make this, children? What are the things we need? We need 6 pieces of metal pipes, okay? And we need a thin wooden plank, glue, sellotape, and pair of scissors. We'll write down 6 pieces of metal pipes. The diameter of each pipe should be about 1.5 centimeters, okay? We will write diameter about 1.5 centimeters. A thin wooden plank. Glue, sellotape, pair of scissors. Okay. 6 pieces of metal pipes of diameter about 1.5 centimeters each, a thin wooden plank, glue, sellotape, and a pair of scissors. Okay. Let's see how to do this one. Look at this one. We have to make the instrument like this. Cut the pieces of metal pipes as shown in the figure, not the same size, not the same length. Okay. So here the measurements given. The longest one 17 centimeters, then 15 centimeters, 13 centimeters, 11 centimeters, 9 centimeters, and finally the shortest one should be 7 centimeters. Okay. Then place the cylinders on a wooden plank which has 5 centimeter width and 20 centimeter length as shown in the figure. Then take 2 sticks and tap the cylinders rhythmically. Okay. So when we tap these things rhythmically, what should happen, children? You all know that we are vibrating the metal pieces. Okay, these are made up of metal pieces. Therefore, by vibrating metal pieces, we can produce sound. Okay, children? Right, now we are going to watch a video on how sound is produced in xylophones. So you watched the video. I hope you understood that very well. Okay, we'll move on to the next. Right, we have another assignment. Make any amount of equipment that can produce sounds. Now we learn how to produce different types of musical instruments, right? Using the things or materials that we can find very easily at home. So not only those things, you can try to make some other materials too. So sometimes using natural materials, you can use different types of instruments, right? You can create your own instruments. You all have good ideas, right? As small children, you all have very good ideas. You all are very creative. So you can think of some new ideas, new ways to make these type of instruments, and you can make them, okay? And play the instruments with friends in the class and perform a musical band in the class. So you can discuss with your friends. So most of the time, some children like to make the balloon membrane drum because it's very easy to make. Don't go for the easy one always. Discuss with your friends and try to make different things. So then the whole class get together, you all can play these musical instruments as a band. Okay, children? Right. Listening to loud sounds is a disturbance. We already learned this one. Those sounds are also a disturbance to others. Now we all know that listening to loud sounds can damage our ears. It's not good for us. And at the same time, it's a disturbance to others too. Let's say that if you all are studying at home for an exam, if someone else is playing loud music, it's very disturbing. You can't concentrate on your work. And at the same time, when we play loud music at night, the other people can't sleep peacefully. Okay, children, therefore, when we listen to music, we have to be very careful. You have to control the volume of the music, and we should listen to music without disturbing the others. Okay, children? We must use television, radio, loudspeakers and other equipment without disturbing others. Right? And at the same time, it's not good for our health too. I told you, when your ears continuously exposed to this loud noise, loud music and all, at one point, after some time period, your ears won't be sensitive to mild sounds anymore, right? The normal sounds anymore, right, children? And at the same time, when you listen to loud noise for a long period of time, you will get diseases like high blood pressure, heart attacks, and you will increase the mental stress. You cannot concentrate properly. So those are the harmful effects of exposing to loud noise for a long period of time. So that is why we have to use all these equipment like television, radio, loudspeaker like equipment without disturbing the others and without harming yourselves too. Right, children? Look at this one. This is also for your extra knowledge. By using ear protectors, we can protect our ears from loud noises. Do you remember under noises part I explained you, the people who work in these workplaces, so the different factories where loud noise is produced, they have to wear these type of ear protectors to protect their ears. Now we have completed the lesson. I hope you understood the whole lesson and it is a very easy lesson. Okay, children? Now we will go to the summary and check what we have learned so far. Summary. We can hear different types of sound when we are in the environment. Right? We learned that when we close our eyes, we can listen to different sounds much better. Okay? And ear is the sense organ that helps hearing. Ear is sensitive to sounds. Ear can send messages to the brain about sound waves. Okay? And sound is produced by sources of sound. The things or the objects that produce sound are known as sources of sound. Okay? Sound is produced by vibrations. Sound is always produced by vibrating something, some material. Okay, children? The sound sung or played rhythmically is known as music. Music always has a rhythm. Okay, therefore they are pleasant to your ears. Unrhythmic sound is known as noise. Now, noise is unpleasant to hear. Musical instruments can be classified into many groups according to the way they produce sounds. There we learn about 4 different types of instruments. The instruments that produce sound by vibrating strings, the instrument produce sound by vibrating air columns, the instruments that produce sound by vibrating membranes, and finally the instruments produce sound by vibrating metal pieces. Okay, children? So loud noises are harmful for our ears. So we learn that noise is always harmful for ears. Not only that, even music, if we increase the volume, it is still harmful for our ears. Okay, loud music is also harmful for ears. Okay, it's our duty and responsibility to use sounds without disturbing others. This is the last thing we learn about sound. Right, children. Now we have completed the lesson. But you know that we have to do the exercise next, right? So first of all, we are going to do the exercise given in the textbook, and then we are going to do some additional exercises too. But remember, children, when you do the exercise, before you watch the exercise video part, you all have to do all the exercise by yourselves. Right, children? So after writing answers for all the questions given, you all have to watch the video then. So then you can understand what are your mistakes. If you have made any mistake, you can read the lesson again, the relevant part specifically, and then try to write the answers for the same questions again. Now we will start to do the exercise in the next part of the lesson.